What's up everyone, it's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be going over the first of 3 new archetypes coming out in Amazing Defenders here in the TCG on what I believe is January 20th. Correct me if I'm wrong, but before I begin, if you happen to enjoy content like this, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons would be greatly appreciated, as it goes a long way in supporting the channel and shows me that you like content like this. So I'll be referring to this archetype as the Eevee archetype, as that's what it's been nicknamed, and I'll explain why momentarily. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add 1 excavated Eevee spell trap to your hand. Also, place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Once per turn, you can reveal 1 Eevee quick play spell in your hand, and if you do, special summon 1 Exceed monster that mentioned it from your extra deck by using this face-up card you control as material. And if you do, attach the revealed card to the summon monster as additional material. This is treated as an Exceed summon. So this is kind of how you get into your different forms, with these being the quick plays that you're primarily going to be using to get into those forms. And the first one that I'm going to read over here is Happy Memory. And all the quick plays have a similar effect where if they're attached to an Eevee Exceed monster, they all gain additional effects, but then they also have the same effect to discard 1 card and special summon a level 1 Eevee monster from your deck. This one makes it so that once applied, the next time this card would be destroyed by a card effect, it is not destroyed. And then when attached as a material, this card can attack a monster a number of times each battle phase up to the number of Happy Memories attached to it, plus 1. Then we have Delicious Memory, which allows you to make 1 monster on the field unable to be destroyed by battle until the end of the next turn. While the attach effect is that it gains 300 attack and defense for each material attached to it. And then lastly, we have Pretty Memory, which allows each player to gain 1000 life points. Like the other 2, you can discard a card, and if you do, special summon 1 level 1 Eevee monster from your deck, and an Eevee Exceed monster that has this card as material gains this effect. Once per turn, you can send 1 other card you control to the graveyard, then target 1 card your opponent controls, attach it to this card as material, which is a pretty crazy effect. Then we have the field spell here, and this is going to follow kind of a line where, as you see, these 2 have protection built into them, and this one makes it so that your opponent cannot target a Eevee monster you control with card effects during the turn they were special summoned. Once per turn, if a face-up Eevee Exceed monster you control leaves the field by an opponent's card, special summon 1 level 1 Eevee monster from your deck or graveyard. Once per turn during the end phase, you can target 1 Eevee Exceed monster on the field and attach 1 Eevee quick play spell from your deck or graveyard to it as material. And as you can see, what that means is that you kind of want to protect the castle with your board via your spells here, while having an overall consistent backbone with the ability to 3 quick plays that can bring out the Eevee, and the Eevee being able to excavate and add 1 to hand. So I'll start this hand here, and this is the pure version I would like to add. I'll be showing 6 different variants, as this isn't necessarily a combo deck, and then I'll go over the 6 deck profiles so that you can get an idea of what you may want to do with the deck. So I'm going to use the excavation effect here, and as you see, we have the continuous spell and the trap card, which are the last 2 I need to read over. And the continuous spell here reads, you can pay 500 life points, reveal 3 Eevee cards from your deck except another copy of itself, and your opponent randomly picks 1 for you to add to your hand. Then you shuffle the rest back into the deck. If a face-up Eevee Exceed monster you control leaves the field by an opponent's card, even during the damage step, you can add up to 3 Eevee quick play spells with different names from your graveyard to your hand, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So from here we'll be using its effect to reveal 3, and we're going to end up adding the trap to hand so that we can go ahead and read that. And what this allows you to do is target 1 Eevee Exceed monster you control and special summon from your extra deck 1 Eevee Exceed monster with a different rank than that monster that you control it by using it as material. Then return it to the extra deck during the end phase of the next turn, which is important to remember, as this is also treated as an Exceed summon. You also transfer the materials to the summon monster. Then it has a graveyard effect in which you can banish this card from the graveyard, then target up to 3 Eevee monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck. So from here we're going to use the effect now, revealing Delicious Memory, and this will bring out the first Exceed here, which is pretty much Leafeon. And once per turn, you can target target up to 2 spell traps in any graveyards, attach them to this card as material. This is a quick effect if this card has Delicious Memory as material. Then thrice per turn, when you activate an EV quick play spell card, quick effect, you can attach that card on the field to this card as material. Then you can banish one monster on the field until the end phase. That is an optional effect. So we'll end our turn on that, setting 3, and I'm going to do that kind of to show what you rank up into as we attach a final card here with the field spell in the end phase. We'll then end up using the quick play so that we can chain the Leafeon here and attach them, give it 5 materials so that we can have the effect for the boss monster that we're going to go into, as we're now going to use the trap, which will allow us to rank up here, but we also protect our continuous spell through Happy Memory. So we'll now go into the first of 2 rank 7s that we have for the deck, and this one takes 2 level 7 monsters. You can also exceed summon this card by using 1 rank 2 monster you control with 5 more materials. Transfer its materials to this card. This card with 5 or more materials is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. You can detach 2 materials from this card, then target 1 card your opponent controls or in their graveyard. Place it on the bottom of the deck. This is a quick effect if this card has a level 1 EV monster as material. So now that you've kind of seen the cards themselves do their thing, so that you know what they do, I now want to get into the variants, as I think that the variants are an important piece in playing this deck. One of the cons that this deck does have is the fact that you've basically seen all the cards here outside of a couple of extra deck monsters, which means that there's really not enough to make a functioning deck out of it on its own. But that doesn't mean that the variants can't see play to some level. Because I want to show off the variants full capacity, I am going to do best case scenario hands for them so that you can see everything. It's also important because it'll show how you're going to apply pressure, which is something you may have been wondering after seeing that first combo. But as you can see, we have Fenrir here, and that alone is an ability to have pressure here, as you also get an extra copy of itself, which can be a discard for your EV quick plays, as we're now going to normal summon the blue boy, add a secrets, and the secrets can then add us a Spellbook of Judgment, as we're then going to activate the Spellbook of Judgment, and now we can go off and use our EV bell cards, and this will get us another quick play here as we get the Delicious Memory. We're going to activate it, protecting the Fenrir, and then we're going to special summon the EV from the deck by pitching the copy of Fenrir that we added off of Fenrir. And now we can use the effect of Eevee, and this will excavate 3 cards as we're going to get ourselves another copy of Delicious Memory, and then we're going to use the Eevee here to go into the Vaporeon here. And this one reads that once per turn you can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effect until the end of this turn. This is a quick effect if it has an EV Pretty Memory as material, which we will have one. And thrice per turn, when you activate an EV Quick Play spell card quick effect, you can attach that card on the field to this card as material, then you can change the battle position of 1 monster your opponent controls. Here we're going to activate the Spellbook of Knowledge, which will get us 2 extra draws. And we can set the Delicious Memory. We'll also get the Spellbook of Judgment additions to our hand, along with the Jogan at the end phase, which will give you some follow-up along with stronger monsters to accompany the Exceed monster. Now for this third variant, this is one of the earlier variants I saw, and can be conflicting most of the times, I won't lie. It kind of is, because you want the Eevee monster in one of your zones, and if you have it in the main monster zone, striker spells don't work. If you have it in the main monster zone, then you can't summon your striker Link monsters. I will show a going second hand here for what that's worth, and we're going to add the Hornet Drones off the engage, then use the Hornet Drones to bring out the token so that the token can get us into our Kagari. Then we can use the Kagari, bringing us back the engage, and now from here we'll use the EV quick plays in order to get more spells in the graveyard. We're not going to use the effect to special summon an EV, as we still want to get the engage off. We're going to go into Hayate just to show that it's a going second combo here, as we're now going to use the Delicious Memory to protect the Hayate, get ourselves the third spell in graveyard so that we can use the engage here, adding us a copy of Widow Anchor, drawing into another copy of one. Then we can use the final play here, Pretty Memory I believe it is, which will allow us to get the EV, and then from here we can use its effect, Excavating 3, and from there we'll get the Pretty Memory, which is what we would have gotten with the continuous spell, as we're now going to go into the Sylveon here. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled, you can add one EV card from your deck to your hand. Also, if this card has Happy Memory as material, you can have the attack of one face-up monster on the field. Thrice per turn, when you activate an EV quick play spell card, quick effect, you can attach that card on the field to this card as material. Then you can return one spell trap from your opponent's field to the hand. For the fourth variant here, we have Dogmatica, and as you saw earlier with one of the excavations, we're also playing Bestials, and I think playing cards like this in Fenrir, along with other engines, are the better way to play the deck so that you can give the deck more teeth to chew with. Because otherwise, you're really just playing Protect the Castle and kind of hoping that hand traps or whatever else you have get the job done. But the Bestials and Fenrir can just give you attack points, while also being disruptions. So from here we'll normal summon our EV, and then we can Excavate 3 here, as we're going to get the continuous spell, I believe, yeah we do. And then we're going to activate it, paying 500. This will get us a search here, as we're going to get our Pretty Memory, I believe that is. And we're now going to go into our Leafeon here, with the Delicious Memory, attaching it. Then we can use the Nadir Servant here, which will put the Farragut into the graveyard so that we can use its effect, which will get us a draw one and put one back into the deck. As we're now going to special summon the Ecclesia here, get ourselves a copy of either Maximus, which you can, but we're going to get ourselves Fleur here to give us an extra hand trap with the Magnemite. And then we have the two quick play spells here, and off the board. The fifth variant here, as you could probably tell from the quick plays, the effects to discard are not costs. There actually is some synergy with the Dark World cards. Keep in mind, this is a completely experimental list. Take what you see here with a grain of salt, as I'm now going to activate the continuous spell here, which will allow us to reveal 3. And then we're going to get the Delicious Memory to our hand, as we're going to use the memory in order to affect our continuous spell, bringing out an EV and also getting a Snow. The EV can then get us a quick play here, as we're going to get the Accession off of Snow, and then we can use the Accession, which will allow us to go into our Grapha Fusion, use the Nessie here along with the Grapha, and then we'll be able to get a Danger Bigfoot into our hand for the Grapha on an opponent's turn. Then from here we can use the EV's effect, which will allow us to go into our Leafeon here, as we're going to attach the Delicious Memory, and this will pretty much be our end board. The final list, as you can see, we're committing harder to the Steel lineup, and then backing up EV stuff with a level 1 engine here with the Where Are Thou and the Jester Confits. There's another option that you can take, but what we're going to do here is we're going to special summon the Confit, use the Where, then we can search ourselves the EV. From there we can normal summon the EV, Excavate 3 here, as we're going to pick up a quick play here, as we do get the Pretty Memory, and then we're going to use the EV's effect, which will give us a Vaporeon by attaching the memory. And now we can use the continuous spell here, which will get us search here of a Happy Memory. And then we can now use the Lubellion, which will get us a Magna Hut. The Jester Confit will be used to go into Link Karibo so that we can have a Dark in the graveyard. And we'll use the Magna Hut effect, banishing the Jester Confit, special summoning itself, using its effect on field to get a search in the end phase, bring back the Lubellion. The Lubellion can give us Branded Beast, and this will be how we get the extra disruption to back up the Vaporeon, also having a Link Karibo. The end phase, we also get the Magna Hut search, which will get the Druis Worm. The first list I'll be going over here is a quote-unquote pure one, and in this one, you would just be playing a bunch of hand traps, board breakers as well. As you see, we have 9 Bestials, along with the 3 Crows, the 3 Skullmeister, 3 Imperms. For ratios, I've kind of just been playing everything at 3 here except the field and the trap. They're easily searchable, also kind of bricky. 3 prosperity to let you dig. Finally, we have the EV Exceed that I'm going to be going over, which takes 2 level 7 monsters, and you can also Exceed summon this card by using a rank 2 monster you control with 5 or more materials. Transfer its materials to this card. During your main phase, you can detach 1 material from this card, and if you do, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls, till the end of this turn. Opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation if this card has a level 1 EV monster as material. When an attack is declared involving this card that has 5 or more materials, inflict 1500 damage to your opponent. Protect the castle strategy that you have here with the quick plays, as noted earlier. Added consistency of just being able to have a bunch of quick plays that bring out the EV, while prosperity can also dig for hard by excavating 3 or 6. Anyone that knows how it is to play a deck with near 20 hand traps, also repercussions that kind of come with that, which there may be games where you're not able to play at all. Before I go over the card by card, I would also like to mention that for the rest of the deck profiles here, or at least most, I'll be using the same ratios for the EV cards. I'll only go over them this once to spare you the time. So we have the 3 EV, the 3 Delicious Memory, the 3 Pretty Memory, 1 Street, the 3 Happy Memory, the 3 Friend, the 3 Prosperity, the 1 1-for-1, the 3 Magna Huts, the 3 Saronniers, the 3 Druis Worm, the 1 Called by the Grave, the 3 Crow, the 3 Skullmeisters, the 3 Imperms, and the 1 Leap. For the extra deck, we have the 1 Underworld Goddess, Unicorn, Dark, Lena. You can see the Bestials are your darks, the Eevee is a light monster. Have the Farigid and the 2 Entis. You can actually take out, replace them with Anima, Masquerena, and a second copy of Nor, dependent on what you would want. The Zeus here, the 1 Happiness, the 1 Happiness, the 2 Vaporeons, and the 2 Leafeons to round out extra deck for the pure build. Striker version is somewhat similar in the sense that you can play a lot of hand traps. This is an older build that I had, but I thought it was fine to keep it this way, as maybe getting a list soon. We don't know the futures of Bestials when Hypernova is coming. There could be a slight meta shift. Of course, this is all up for change in regards to the hand traps. Outside of the EV cards, which are the same exact ratios, we have the 3 Veilers, the 3 Crows, the 1 Hornet Drones, the Imperms, the 3 Prosperities, the 1 Called by, the 3 Widow Anchor, the 1 Shark Cannon, which could be 2, an Afterburner, the 1 Engage, 3 Ash Blossoms to round out the main deck. Onto the extra deck, we have a pretty Sky Striker heavy extra deck with the 1 Zeke, the 2 Kagaris, the 2 Shizukus, the 1 Kana, and the 1 Hayate, with the 1 Zeus, the 1 Nor, the 1 Happiness, 1 Mini Happiness, the 2 Vaporeons, and the 2 Leafeons to round out the main deck, or to round out the extra deck. Onto the Spellbook variant, and I believe that this is probably one of the better ones, as ceiling is definitely the highest with the Jogan, Fenriers, the Bestials, extra draws off of Knowledge, Eevee just being kind of a complementary piece to it all, which is kind of nice, and what you would want. Don't have as many, at least enough to make a deck on its own. Do think that's something nice about this list. You can see for the EV cards we have the same ratios again as stated earlier. The rest of the cards we have the 3 Blue Boy, the 3 Secrets, the 3 Knowledge, the 3 Fenriers, the Jogan, the Spellbook of Judgment, the 3 Magna Huts, the 3 Saronniers, the 3 Druis Worms. Onto the extra deck we have the Underworld Goddess, the 1 Unicorn, we have the Sprite Elf, the Dark, the Lena, and the Area, because we do have the Blue Boy in this build, which is a water monster. Then we have the Zeus, the Downward Magician, the Nor, the Happiness, the Mini Happiness, the 2 Vaporeons, and the 2 Leafeons to round out the extra deck. As you can see, this is another recurring theme with all of the EV cards being the same ratios. I still want to kind of hover over them so that you can still see them, but this list is essentially take out the spellbook stuff. The 3 Ecclesias, the 3 Nadir Servant, Fleur. We're also playing the 1 Punishment. We also have the 3 Prosperities, the 3 Fenriers, Implement, EV stuff. The Dark World build, as I said, it's easily the most experimental. It's the only one that doesn't have for card the same ratios, and it's only because we don't play the trap in this one. But the quick plays, the continuous spells, and the EVs are all the same thing. For the Dark World cards, we have 2 Graphas, the 2 Rainbows, the 3 Snow, the 3 Brow, Catalyzer, 1 Accession, and then we have a hefty Danger package with the 1 Sushinoko, the 1 Jackalope, Bigfoot, the 2 Thunderbirds, the 3 Nessies, the 2 Mothman, which I understand is a little risky this format, especially in a deck like this. May want to keep a quick play without setting it, but we did want to make the deck as consistent as possible in terms of functionality so that if you were to test this deck, you can kind of fix it along the way to gain more experience with the deck. Finally, we have the 1 Chupacabra. For the extra deck, we have the 2 Grapha Fusions, the 1 Access Code, the Unicorn, the Dark, the Masquerena, the Coach King, the Zombie Stein, the Abyss Dweller, Dugaris. We then have the 1 Nor, the 1 Happiness. We don't play a Little Happiness here, but we do have a Vaporeon and 2 Leafeons, as definitely combo a bit differently with the explosiveness of the Dark World and Danger cards in this particular build. And this one follows the same pattern with the 3 EVs, the Delicious, the 3 Pretties, the 1 Field Spell, yada yada yada, and then we have the 3 Jester Comfits, the 1 branded Beast, the 3 Where Art Thou, the 3 Prosperity, which you can also see is a recurring theme in this deck along with the Bestial lineup, the consistency of the deck. But because we are playing a heavier Bestial package, we do have the 3 Lubellions, the 1 Beast, round out the main deck. And onto the extra deck, Underworld Goddess, Nightmare Unicorn, Dark, Lena, Asa, Linkuriboh, Zeus. We then have the Drudge here for Bestials, as this is something that you can do in your other builds as well. Have the 1 Nor, the 1 Venus, the 1 Little Happiness, the 2 Vaporeons, and the 2 Leafeons to round out the deck profiles. Anyways, that's all for today's video, and if you made it this far, I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was kind of enough to introduce you the concept of what the deck wants to do, but if it wasn't, leave some suggestions down below so that I can improve them later on. Take all your feedback seriously. Anyways, it's Bones, signing out.